So Ananda is with the Buddha repeatedly from the material here for 20 years. And then he passes. And then Ananda is with Kashyapa for 20 years. And this this interaction happens after Ananda has been with Kashyapa for 20 years. So at this time, Ananda says to Kashyapa, elder brother, did the world honored one transmit anything else to you besides the gold robe? So I could say to Choa, did Seisin give you anything else besides that gold rock suit? Or I could say to Seisin, did Bernie give you anything else besides that fancy brocade thing? Kesa? But what's he really asking? What am I missing? I can recount all the words of the Buddha. I've been intimate. I practiced it intimately with this person. And now I've practiced intimately with you. But the Dharma hasn't been transmitted to me. What am I missing? And that's, it's such a, it makes me think of that koan of what's the most painful thing, kind of wearing the vestments, but not knowing the intimacy. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing poorly. So this is all our question, right? What am I missing? What am I lacking? What am I not understanding? And one of the really important aspects that's brought out in the Teisho is that in a way, Ananda is such an example of just knowing, just having the knowledge, just the words and letters are not going to reach. He had all that. So he's asking Kashyapa, what else besides the gold brocade robe? Was there something else? And what's talked about in the Teisho is that Kashyapa sensed that there was a ripeness in Ananda in this moment. There was, you could even say vulnerability. There was something that could break through. And so he calls, Ananda. Like Cho or Seisin could say, Kyoshin, or Shoyu, or Tabitha, or Blair, or Diana, or Choa, or Gua, or Jason, or Catherine. And what's interesting in the case is that it says, so there's three kind of moments. Kashyapa calls out, Ananda replies, we don't know what he says back. What? What do you want? Okay, I'll be there in a minute. He's been with him for 20 years, he doesn't, is this a special moment or not, Or he could be, yes. That could be the moment that he affirms. All along, there's been nothing special to get. All along, I've been walking along as thus is. So Ananda replies, and then Kashyapa then says, knock down the flagpole in the front of the gate. And Ananda was greatly awakened. So the sequence is just interesting. At what point did that happen? It's just curious. I don't have an answer. We can all think about it. We can all penetrate into it. Um, and also, just a couple other things I wanted to mention about the having to, that it's nothing that can be handed to us. And a story came to mind, and Jason all know this story. I remember Tenshin saying that he was sitting up late with Maizumi Roshi once, and I imagine them in the Enryo at CCLA. I imagine that's how it happened, but I'm not sure. And but Tenshin told me this story, and that at some point Roshi said something like, "What is it?" Something like that, and Tenshin said, "Crickets in the garden." Now, from what I understand, and again, I'll get corrected on this if I'm totally off base, but from what I understand, Maizumi Roshi had an awakening experience related to crickets in the garden. And Maizumi Roshi said to Tenshin Roshi, who was not Tenshin Roshi at the time, Tenshin, senior student Tenshin, "Don't cheat." He said, "When you cheat yourself, you cheat me." Because Tenshin was just recounting something that was Maizumi Roshi's experience, and wanting that to be accurate for himself as well. And maybe he didn't know what else to say in that moment, like many, many, many times we don't. I don't. But this is so much the point of our practice, and we all know it. I mean, man, I don't know how y'all are doing, but this has been a slog so far as I'm concerned. And just it felt like revving the engine of samadhi up in the last 2.5, 2 3/4 days. It's just been a slog. Um, so it's amazing we stay with it. Thank you, everybody, so much for doing that. Um, and I imagine that you all do it for the same reason that I do, which is we want to experience this direct intimacy with our lives. We want that passionately. And Kashyapa cannot answer that for Ananda. But he can see when Ananda's, he's been with them so long. There's some readiness there. And it happens that Ananda sees into his true nature. And I've been starting to study quite a bit with Shishin's book on the 5 ranks. And he has this great, I was sharing with another person this morning about this. He has this, to me, it's a very effective metaphor, which is that there's like this kind of like like maybe not an ocean liner so much, but like you'd go on a river cruise, a big boat, and it's got all the food, it's got a full crew, the captain's there, they're singing the seafaring songs, and they're all ready to take off, and it's and they try to go, and no movement happens, and what's happening is there's just a thin cord that's still attaching the ship to the shore. And so what Shishin said about that, he says that's the root of our delusive thought, that the self is real, that I exist separately from everything else. And that's what's holding the ship from going. That's what holds us back from freedom and emancipation. And and knowing that we're whole and complete as we are. And in that, from what I understand, there, going back to Gautama's eye pupil, there is no I there. There isn't Kashyapa and Ananda. There's just yes or no words. And then the flagpole. So I wouldn't have known what this was about. It is in the Teisho, though, fortunately. Is that when there was a debate in those times in India, when there was a debate between Buddhists and non-Buddhists, they would put up flagpoles. So there was like sports teams, and they all had their jerseys on. No, I'm kidding. um, but so that was a sign that there was a debate happening, and whoever's flagpole got knocked down is lost the debate. So it's just such a beautiful image that Kashyapa says, knock down the flagpole. The debate's over. We both won. The whole universe is right here, right now, as this. And I doubt there was really a flagpole out there because there wasn't really a debate happening. So I think it was a metaphor that Kashyapa was using, but it seems effective. There was a point made in here too. What was it? I'll just read you this little paragraph, like the sentence at the end, so it'll put it in context. You must understand that you should not make light of the experience of the Buddha way. Ananda, thoroughly versed in the holy teachings of the Buddha's whole lifetime, repeated them as the Buddha's disciple. So who would not go along with him? However, you must understand that he followed Kashyapa and served him. After he became greatly enlightened, he proclaimed the teachings again. It was like fire uniting with fire. Clearly, if you want to investigate the true way, abandon the false view of a self, old emotions, pride, and egotism. Turn your original mind to acquiring Buddha knowledge, Buddha understanding. So maybe just finish with the verse. So Kazan always says this in this sort of, I don't know if it's he's putting on being humble, but he always says, there's a verse about this case. This humble monk could share it with you. Do you want to hear? Yeah. Today, this descendant of Daijo would also like to add a few words. Would you like to hear them? Wisteria withered, trees fallen, mountains crumbled. Valley streams gush forth, and sparks pour out from the stones. So please analyze it for yourself. My thoughts are wisteria withered, trees fallen, mountains crumbled. history is so beautiful, and trees and mountains crumble. Disaster. The flagpoles knocked down. The great death, the great extinguishing of this sense of separation. And then from that, valley streams gush forth, and sparks pour out from the stones. So it seems to me that especially the sparks pour out from the stones. How does that happen? The whole view turned upside down. But with tremendous plenitude and nourishment. So it's Wednesday, late afternoon, early evening, nighttime. And we've put in a lot of effort so far, but we're only halfway through. So it's a great opportunity. And don't start running like a horse for the pen with the cattle bag or food bag. You know what I mean? Don't start thinking about the end. Don't start thinking about what you're going to have for dinner on Sunday or who you're going to visit with next week. Let's really, really make use of all the effort so far and this amazing opportunity to do Rohatsu Sushin together from near and far, which is wonderful as well. And we are the children of the Buddha, and we carry it forth here. So let's keep supporting one another in doing that.